Hello, this is Igoro, host of the Igoro Show, and you are listening to the Steve and Crypto Show. So keep your ears open and your mouth shut.
Hey, welcome to the Steve and Crypto Show Halloween special, presented by thestevestrout.com. I'm Steve.
I'm Crypto Zoo. Happy Halloween.
Yeah, and it is episode 50, and I'm feeling...
No, not this week, okay? Look, we're 50 years old now. We're getting past that, you know? We don't have time for the stupid rhymes anymore. We might have them next week. We don't have time for the stupid rhymes anymore, okay? We're 50. It's on to better things now.
Honestly, I'm glad you stopped me. Probably would have ruined Halloween with a stupid rhyme.
Yeah, don't come at this episode with some stupid Halloween jokes, okay?
We got to keep the people back. We got to keep them coming back because they love us and we appreciate them.
We appreciate them so much, and we we have a spot that you can show your appreciation, and that is our Buy Me a Coffee page at buymeacoffee.com/SteveCrypto. So you can head over there and kick us a couple bucks as just a little tip, little way of saying thank you. And we thank you in advance. We appreciate you guys very much. We hope that you guys are doing all right during the spooky season, and any contributions just helps to making the show better and to keeping the old Steve and Crypto train rolling. So thank you to everyone who has contributed so far. Thank you to anyone who is looking to help us out in the future.
Yeah, and speaking of contributors, our last episode, we featured a contributor in front of the show when we did the contest a few months back. And we had the two winners, and we brought the first one on the show. We brought Josh Cook on, who happened to have written a zombie novel some years back. And we ended up talking a lot about zombies on that last episode, on 49. It was pretty fun. It was, because it was like kind of the whole zombie craze sort of faded a little bit, but then it feels like it's kind of starting to pick back up again with the last season of The Walking Dead, and even Joe Bob Briggs is doing a special for The Last Drive-In, like with The Walking Dead, which is pretty cool. And Speaking of Joe Bob, if you remember last year, who listened to the Halloween episode, we kind of did a little homage to Joe Bob, and we told a few Halloween jokes that people just loved. People just adored.
What did I just say? I just say? We weren't going to give them any jokes.
We said rhymes. We said rhymes, not jokes.
Okay.
I found a loophole. But anyways, as we're speaking of zombies, I got a zombie joke for you. You okay with that?
Fire away.
It don't matter.
It doesn't matter if I'm okay with it. You're going to tell me anyway. Fire away.
I'm going to tell you anyways. So, do zombies eat popcorn with their fingers?
I don't know, do they?
No, they eat their fingers separately. Huh?
Oh, okay. I don't know. The fingers might be good with the popcorn mix. People like to do the popcorn with
like
the M&Ms.
Trail
sometimes.
Mix, kind of.
Yeah.
The party mix.
A little zombie trail mix.
The party mix. Yeah, but then like the fingernails, you get caught in your teeth with the kernels, and just dealing with the kernels between your teeth is enough. You don't want fingernails.
Speaking from experience, right? You've tried it before.
Oh, yeah. All the time.
Yeah. Okay. Why didn't the vampire attack Taylor Swift? Because she had bad blood.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, eventually we're gonna get a soundboard. That would have been a perfect moment for it. And
I'll be your Michael Winslow for now.
Yeah. So why didn't the zombie go to school, since we're talking zombies?
Why?
Because he felt rotten.
Okay.
Hopefully you guys are still with us.
Yeah. If there's anybody listening, why did you see so much? Why did you see so much hair when the werewolf dropped his pants? Because it was a full moon. Beware the moon.
Mm-hmm. Beware of our jokes. But
yeah.
So what do you do when 50 zombies surround your house?
Ooh. What do?
You hope that it's Halloween. Fucking trick-or-treaters.
Yeah. All right. Well,
should we just do this for like
my
the
last
whole
one.
episode rather than all the guests we've announced and been advertising? Let's just do bad jokes the whole time. Just kidding. Just kidding.
Yeah,
we
we do
people
have
just
guests
tuning
coming
out now. Unsubscribe. Yeah.
Please stick with it. We do have the guests as promised. All right, here's my final one. Why did the man fail as a stand-up comedian, but later became a prolific axe murderer? He was a total hack.
All right. Why did the Scarecrow stand-up comedian fail? Because all his jokes were corny. Yes,
that's good.
It.
That's good.
Let's get to the show before people stop listening to us. And that being said, don't forget, buymeacoffee.com/SteveCrypto. And contributors, the more you contribute, the less we'll tell jokes next Halloween.
We promise.
Promise.
Maybe.
Yeah, no promises. So yeah, it's Halloween. We've been, of course, watching lots of Halloween-themed horror and, fun family spooky stuff. What's a couple things you've watched since last episode?
Well, of course, we watch that kind of stuff all year round, but we definitely watch a hell of a lot more this time of year. In honor of one of our guests today, I watched Hocus Pocus. I mean, I pretty much watch it almost every year anyways, but, definitely with our guest in mind. I watched that just the other day. Last night I watched a movie called Freaky, which is the Vince Vaughn film.
Yes.
That I think it came out last year. And I mean, I had never really checked it out before, or read about it or anything. I didn't know that it was a straight up like Freaky Friday type of situation. I thought that it was just called Freaky. I loved it. Really, really enjoyed it. So if anybody is kind of thinking about it, or you've seen it out there when you're like browsing, streaming, check it out. It's worth the time.
Yeah.
And aside from that, I've been binging on What We Do in the Shadows. I just watched the hope I'm not spoiling this, but the Mark Hamill episode.
Oh, no.
Just watched that last night.
If it's from the last season, it ain't spoiling. And if it's still worth watching anyways,
They've had a lot of great cameos.
Yeah,
it's a fun show.
It's a good show, man. I'm glad you finally jumped on that bandwagon and started watching it, because it's good, man.
Yeah,
I love
it.
It's hilarious.
Yeah, what you been watching?
I'll run through without getting too much into everything, but I know off the top of my head, I watched Critters. Did you watch the Muppets Haunted Mansion?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
My kids didn't watch it, but I did.
It's not bad. I checked that out. I watched Phantasm, of course. It's a classic. And I went and watched another fun family one. I watched Casper with Christina Ricci, which was
always good.
That's always it's a cute movie.
Yeah.
They did a cool job with like the ghosts and stuff. I dug it. And I watched Hellraiser, of course. That's like a staple of my horror watching list. And just I can't even think of much more I watched. There's been so much going on getting this episode ready for everybody.
Yeah, I also throw in I did watch Halloween Kills again just to try to take it in a little bit more.
Right.
The more I watch it, the more I have like mixed feelings. The first time I think I was just really hyped up.
Yeah.
And then now watching it again, like I have some moments that I love and some that I'm not so crazy about.
Yeah.
But overall it was pretty entertaining and
still had fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Still had a great
movie.
time.
It wasn't perfect, but it was fun.
There's some little theories about it, but yeah, it's fun. It's cool to see some unexpected faces in there. But being that Danny McBride is involved, and David Gordon Green, they might, maybe it's not so surprising that they have a comedian or two in there. I'm referring to old Stewart from Mad TV, Michael McDonald.
Yeah.
You catch Michael busting the door, and he's like, "Oh!"
It was good. I dug it. Like I said, it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll watch it again down the road. Didn't hate it. I'm glad it got people talking. There's a lot of chatter about a horror movie. You know what I mean? Like the big until Dune released, but it was like the big big talk of the town, which is awesome. That is a horror movie. Dune, by the way, I just watched that. So I got in my last night movie really late and fell asleep watching it, but I'll post about what I watched some point today, hopefully. But Dune, man, I'm not gonna lie, I never read the book. I probably started it 10 times, and it's a heavy read. It's a deep read. But I mean, I watched the movie in the 80s, and it wasn't really good. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people didn't like it, but it looks like, this one, it was beautifully made. It's a real good looking movie. It's good. I loved it, man. I loved it. I'm waiting for part 2, and I'm it's almost good enough for me to go ahead and read that book, but that book is work.
Yeah. So
we'll see. I love reading, but sometimes it's a little bit much. But yeah. So you mentioned, you kind of threw a hint at movies you watched with one of our guests. We have some good guests on this episode. I have a horror author named Isaac Thorne, and he comes on to tell us about his book, The Gordon Place, which is superb. It's one of the better books I've read in a while. Definitely stay tuned for that chat and hear a little bit about that. We had Jennifer Nangle, the actress. She's been in a lot of horror stuff, and she portrays the horror hostess, Malvolia, the Queen of Screams, who is, kind of moving up in the ranks and picking up a following, so that's cool. And then we are premiering the world premiere of the Shadow Figures new track, which I'm really excited about because, we love those guys, and they've become good friends of the show. And if you don't know them, we had an episode with them month and a half ago or so, early August, and it's the YouTuber Jade the Lieber, who is like immensely popular, and her husband Dallas have a kind of like a horror synth kind of
like horror soundtrack.
Yeah, very much. But they asked us to premiere their new single, so that's really exciting for us. And then, of course, the main event is one of my favorite actors, to be honest. We have Doug Jones, who's appeared in everything from Hellboy to the What We Do in the Shadows series you mentioned, Hocus Pocus, The Shape of Water,
Fantastic Four.
Just a ton of things. It was definitely really exciting to have him on. He is one of the nicest people in show business.
Yeah, we had a great time talking with him. Hope you guys enjoy it.
And there's another little surprise or two popping up. A little shout out from some other friends of the show and everything. Yeah, man, this is an exciting episode. We are very excited for it. And it wouldn't be a proper introduction to the Halloween episode if we did not mention that our friends Fright Rags are releasing 2 brand new officially licensed Universal Monsters designs. There's a Bela Lugosi as Dracula and a Lon Chaney Jr. as the Wolfman t-shirts.
Ooh.
Plus, they are re-releasing their Universal Monsters socks featuring Frankenstein, the Bride of Frankenstein, the Invisible Man, the Creature, and more. And that's all coming this week, and to be exact, Wednesday, October 27th. And they release at 10 a.m. usually. And they also gave us a little tip, a little teaser to share that they are doing a special release on November 3rd to celebrate special effects legend Tom Savini's birthday. That's on November 3rd.
That's exciting.
Tell us about Fright Rags.
That's exciting. I mean, everything at Fright Rags is exciting, and it has been since 2003. And they've been offering a wide range of products for your favorite creature features, slasher flicks, and cult classics. Collections include John Carpenter's Halloween, Universal Monsters, as you just heard, Night of the Living Dead, Creepshow, Twin Peaks, Evil Dead, and so many more. All officially licensed and available soon or now at fright-rags.com. Steve and Crypto Show listeners get 10% off when they use code CRYPTO10, one word, CRYPTO10 at checkout. I know I need to get that Wolfman shirt. That's my favorite monster of the group.
Do it. They, their designs are always top notch, and the quality of their stuff is always like awesome. Do it up. Get the Wolfman one.
Yeah.
And I think since we have such awesome guests lined up for the Halloween special, why don't we just jump right in and get to our first guest?
They don't want to hear us yak anymore, or we could give them some more of those jokes.
More jokes.
I mean,
you
come
want
on,
more jokes.
Come on, I got
more?
a list.
Oh, might have another one for you. Why are ghosts terrible liars?
Why?
Because you can see right through them. Why don't mummies take vacations?
Why?
They're afraid to unwind.
Okay, one more and then that's enough.
Oh, you want one more from me? I got you.
One more. Uno mas and that's it.
What do hillbillies do on Halloween?
Fuck their sister or what?
Close. Pumpkin.
Oh man. Oh, that's bad.
Got it. Yeah, pumpkin. You almost nailed it, but you were.
Yeah.
But let's
All right, no more torturing them with the jokes.
Yes.
Let's get to the guests.
Don't leave yet. We have guests. Here they come.
Do you like scary movies? What about things that go bump in the night? I know I do. I'm Dario Evil of Dario Evil's Mausoleum of Terror, and you're listening to Stephen Crypto's Halloween special, guaranteed to give you chills. Listener beware, you're in for a scare. On Stephen Crypto's Halloween special.
Hey, we are on the Stephen Crypto Show Halloween special, and we have a guest and friend named Isaac Thorne, which I think is one of the coolest names for a horror writer. That's like that's a good name for a horror writer. But he's a writer of an award-winning book called The Gordon Place, which came out, I believe, in 2020 or late 2019.
Late 2019 for the audiobook, spring of 2019 for the print book.
Right. So I grabbed the audiobook and listened to it, and for Isaac tell us about it, I do want to shout out to his narrator, Sean, who brilliantly told. I don't think anybody could have read this story as well as he did. But they won an independent audiobook award for The Gordon Place. So tell us about The Gordon Place. Tell us what's the summarize the book for us. Sell it to the audience.
Yeah, the Gordon Place is my first novel. I previously only released short stories, some as singles, and then a compilation of them in 2017, and decided I wanted to try my hand at a novel, and the Gordon Place was a product of that. It's an idea that had been stirring around in my head for a long time about a guy who goes to his abandoned childhood home. For some reason, I didn't know what the reason was going to be at first, but the point was he was going to become trapped there and have to face and deal with all of this trauma that had occurred to him and through him for all of his life. So that was the basic premise, and what evolved out of that was a guy who accidentally gets elected town constable of a small town small fictional town in Tennessee called Lost Hollow. Here's reports that there are these terrifying screams coming from within inside his old abandoned childhood home. So he goes to investigate it, falls into the cellar, breaks the stairs, and can't get out of the cellar. So he becomes trapped in the home and is basically in a psychological struggle with the ghost of his dead father, who wants to possess him and become him, basically.
What do you think, Crypto? You getting intrigued yet?
Yeah, Man, I'm digging it. I've never really jumped into the whole Audible scene, but I think you'll be the first book to get me started.
Awesome. And I will say that Sean is the reason that we won that IAA award in 2020. He really embodied all of the characters, put all his effort into it and submitted the book to the contest. He was up against narrators with quite a bit more experience and prestige than he had at the time. And just knocked it out of the park. I'm very proud of the work he did on that.
That says a lot about him.
He definitely brought it to life. Like you say, he embodied the characters. Like he nailed it. It felt like it wasn't just him reading the story. It felt like he had a cast of narrators.
Absolutely.
It was awesome. It was a great story, to take nothing away from the story, but like having him read it brought it to like a whole different level. If that makes sense to anybody. It's a great story.
Yeah, absolutely.
That just, the only way it could have got better was by this guy reading it. It was just like the perfect team. Like, I don't know. Is there like future books? Are you keeping him in mind while you write?
Absolutely. In fact, as I kind of indicated, he was just starting out on his audiobook narration journey when I put the Gordon Place out there for auditions, and I actually established narrators about doing the Gordon Place, and they either didn't have the time or didn't have the interest or whatever. He asked if he could audition for it, and I was just blown away by what he did, and I would absolutely love to have him do future novels.
Is there anything that you're working on right now that you can mention?
Yeah. The next novel is in the works, and like the Gordon Place, it is set in Lost Hollow, Tennessee, but set in 1955. So it predates the events of the Gordon Place by 60 some odd years. And I can't say too much about it yet, except that it involves a group of people who come face to face with what appears to be a human entity that is trying to pick them off one by one, and they have to try to overpower it. But the title of it is Hellspring, and I hope to be done with the current draft before the end of the year and have it out sometime next year.
Nice. So does it, besides the connection with being set in Lost Hollow, is there like any other, is it going to tie in any way to the Gordon Place?
In tangential ways, I suppose. It's obviously completely different characters being 60 years apart. Otherwise, it's just a completely separate story. There's 60 years difference between the time that the events of the Gordon Place and the events of this novel take place. So there are some similar surnames and settings, but otherwise it's a completely separate story.
Nice. So with your writing, I read other interviews that you've been writing most of your life, but you never really started putting your stuff out to the world to enjoy until later in life. Not like you're old, but later in your, later on. And
yeah,
what point, like what inspired you to decide to just, I'm going to put this out there for people to dig?
Honestly, it's one of those things where, from the time I was very young, I had the dreams of, publishing something. I drew comic strips when I was very young, and I kind of wanted to become a, Sunday comics page cartoonist, and lost interest in that. But writing has always been a thing with me. And with the advent of ebooks and print on demand and the furthering of publishing technology, I realized I could put this stuff, I had the skills I needed to put this stuff out there myself, rather than having to seek an agent and then have that agent seek a publisher. Basically, I mean, I had a little bit of a midlife crisis where I was like, you know what, if I don't do this now, I'm never going to do it. And you submit to an agent, it takes the agent time to get back to you. They submit to publishers, it takes the publishers time to get back to them. I might not have my work out there for another decade or more if I waited on all that. So I just decided to go ahead and start doing it. Just put it out there.
And then when it comes down to it, that agent and this person and the middleman are all going to get, if the book sells really well, you make money, they're going to get a piece of it that you've been waiting for how long? I mean, like down the road, if you write a hit novel and it blows up, yeah, it's good to have those people on your team. But
right.
So obviously you're passionate about horror. We're acquainted on social media and running the same circles on there. And real quick, what got you into horror? Was it like a moment, like a movie you saw as a kid or something, or a book you read?
There wasn't a specific movie or book, but the story I usually tell is when I was little, my grandmother had a bunch of Alfred Hitchcock records, like literal vinyl records that were narrations of stories. So there was those. There was another one that I absolutely loved called Great Ghost Stories that had like the Golden Arm and things like that on it. Classic stuff narrated by, radio guys from the time. And I used to play those, and they scared me to death. And yet I would go back and play them again because I actually I enjoyed that sensation that those scary stories provided me. I started watching the old Universal Monsters movies when they ran on TV, and probably the first really modern or contemporary for me horror movie I ever saw was John Carpenter's Halloween on cable when I was far, far too young to be watching it.
Yep.
So all that culminated in my love for this genre. And I kind of surrounded myself with it. I bought the Fangorias, the Universal Monsters, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it seems like we all had that story of being put in front of the TV way too young, watching something that we really shouldn't have been watching, and it.
Yes,
I guess I don't want to say it messed us all up a bit, but made us all a little weird. I think it has something to do with it. I'm sure. Well, before we wrap up, I do want to thank you. Everybody, go find the Gordon Place, Amazon, Audible, or I believe you could order it off his website too.
Yes, isaacthorne.com, and that is Thorne with an E.
And where can people find you on social media?
On Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, you can find me at Isaac R. Thorne, and that is also Thorne with an E.
Awesome. So this is the Halloween episode. What? How are you taking in the holiday? How are you celebrating?
I have been. I caught up on Halloween 2018. Actually, planning to watch Halloween Kills on Halloween night. And I realize it's a divisive movie in the community. There are people that liked it and people that hated it, and I'm just going to make up my own mind that night.
There you go. It's good, man. It's a good slasher film. I mean, the story didn't make everybody happy, but you want to see some good old fashioned killing and some new shit you never seen before. It's definitely, you're gonna dig it, man. It's fun. It's a fun movie.
I hope you can stay off the internet until then.
Yeah.
And
So nothing to spoil.
I'll tell
for
you what I told Darcy on Twitter from the last drive-in, because Joe Bob has released a review of it, and I commented and said that I had wanted to read his review before I saw the movie, so I was glad he reviewed it. And she said it might be a bit spoilery for you, and I said, I'm one of those rare breeds of moviegoers who isn't really bothered by spoilers, because there's nothing you can really spoil for me that I won't enjoy the movie. I'm sure there are surprises that could be had, if things weren't spoiled, but it's not going to ruin my appreciation of it to know ahead of time what I'm getting.
Spoil it right now. Michael kills everybody.
Oh no, my enjoyment is ruined.
What will I do now?
No, I think you'll have fun with it, man. Hey, enjoy it on Halloween night. It's definitely the right night to watch it. Smuggle lots of candy into the theater. Don't overpay.
Yeah.
Don't overpay for that theater candy. And
hit up Dollar Tree before you go in or
Dollar
something.
Tree, there you go. We will keep in touch, and thank you again. And Isaac Thorne, everybody go check out his work and get on his website and get a copy of the book. You guys will dig it.
I remember before we started the Steve and Crypto Show, we didn't know what the hell we were doing. We didn't know how to get a podcast going. But now, thanks to Anchor, we finally get the show started. And if you haven't heard about it yet, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. And it's free. They got everything you need to get going.
They have all the tools to let you record and edit your podcast right from your phone and computer. And not only can you record your show on there, it will help you distribute it so you can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and most of the major distributors where you listen to your shows.
I mean, really, it's everything you need. If guys like us can do it, so can you. And you can actually make money off of this thing. So get the Anchor app, get started, and get paid. Let your voice be heard.
All you got to do is download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. And thanks for listening to the Steve and Crypto Show.
Hey, I'm Felissa Rose, Angela from Sleepaway Camp, and you're listening to the Steve and Crypto Show. Yeah!
I'm Jade Libra.
And I'm Dallas, and we are Shadow Figures.
You're listening to the Steve and Crypto Show.
And this is our new song, Possess.
is Darcy the Mail Girl from The Last Drive-In, and you're listening to the Steve and Crypto Show.
Hey, I'm Lee.
And I'm Brittany.
We're the two crazies from Night of the Horror File,
a horror movie podcast with new episodes every Monday. And today you are listening to
the Steve and Crypto Show. Haha. Was that good? Was I too corny?
Shut up.
Hey, we are on the Steve and Crypto Show Halloween special with another fun guest. A couple years ago, when I did the horror host series on thestevestrout.com, our very first subject was a hostess named Malvolia, the Queen of Screams. She's portrayed by actress Jennifer Nangle, who is our guest right now. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm happy to be here. Thanks. I didn't realize I was your first.
You were the first. Yep.
Woof. A lot of pressure. Good thing I didn't know. Hey.
So you have your yearly Halloween special coming up. Tell us about it, the release date, and give us all the info.
Yeah, well, season 5 released this past Tuesday, October 19th. So I'm hosting a slew of short horror films, and a skit is going out tomorrow. But yeah, the main event is going to be the Halloween special, which releases next Thursday. And basically a guy gets invited to an escape room, and he meets a lot of ghouls and fools along the way, and we have a lot of fun torturing people.
Well, that all sounds fun.
Makes you want to watch it right now, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I clearly did not work on my elevator pitch for that, so if you tune in, thank you for that.
It sounds good to me. Ghouls, fools, and torture.
Ghouls, fools, and torture. Yeah, I've also been simultaneously filming the Thanksgiving special too. So I'm just kind of all over the place. But season 5 has started off really fun. And the Halloween special is definitely a trip. A lot of people enjoy it.
You write, produce, direct. You're like the driving force behind the whole thing.
Yeah, you got to when you're the creator. Because if you don't believe in it, nobody else is going to, and nobody's going to do the work for you. So
that's true.
Unless you have money, which I have zero money, so I got to do everything. Yeah,
I feel that. We definitely feel that here. That's for sure. Yep. It's good that you don't have to pay your star. That works.
That is true. Yeah. That is true. She works for her labor. Yes.
There you go.
She always shows up on time too. Very eager. Yeah.
Our horror community, as you know, is pretty passionate and very supportive along the way. Have you received any feedback from other horror hosts, like current horror hosts?
Well, Miss Misery is an acquaintance of mine, and she is always super supportive, super nice, super lovely. So there's one Mid-May Massacre horror host panel, and I was the baby of the group because I've only been around 5 years. Everybody else was 20 years. Svengoolie was there. He's been around for forever. I think that man's a vampire. So just to even just be a part of that panel is such an honor. And just to listen to their stories were great, because I don't know, longevity, something to look forward to. But that's pretty much it. Yeah.
So quickly, how did you, for listeners that don't know you, how did you get started as a host?
Sure. Yeah. So the plan was never to be a horror hostess ever. I was originally writing a treatment for a found footage horror movie for a franchise that I wanted to be a part of. And when it got politely declined, one of the producers said, "You really have something here. You should move forward with this, even though we're not going to take it." And I was like, "Okay, well, what could I do?" And so I knew I wanted to talk about a horror subgenre-ish thing that nobody was really talking about. And so I went to Son of Monsterpalooza that year, and I saw that everybody was like still like goo goo gaga over Elvira, because I was not allowed to watch Elvira growing up. I watched Tales from the Crypt, but I didn't watch Elvira. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to talk about a horror hostess, because nobody's talking about that. Nothing's going on with horror hosting. Well, I totally stand corrected. I know I was wrong, because there are horror hosts all over the nation still rocking it, doing their thing.
So, after the special releases, then you said the Thanksgiving specials in the works too. What's next, or is there anything else you're working on? Any other films or anything?
I did finish up The Hell of the Screaming Undead with director writer Dustin Ferguson, and that was released on Blu-ray last week or maybe this week. I can't remember. Every day is kind of like merging, but it just recently released, and it had so much success that, and I was the lead character in that. It had so much success that he just announced that we're making 2 other movies to coincide with that film. So 2022 is going to be busy for me, and I'm very excited because I had a blast working on that movie. I got to meet and work with Robert Mukes, which was such a pleasure. He is honestly the nicest guy. Everybody's completely right when they say he's great, because he's great. And I was able to schmooze him into coming onto the Thanksgiving special for Malvolia. So he is my name for the Thanksgiving special this year. And yeah, just pretty much working on Malvolia the rest of the year. And if anything else pops up, I'll be game to go. So if you're looking for an actress or horror host, hire me. I'm willing and able.
So what's probably been your favorite project to be involved with so far? I mean, obviously your own stuff that you're, writing and producing, but besides that, what's probably been your favorite?
I think the one film that I always look upon fondly is Lilith. That was directed by Alex T. Wang. It was the horror anthology where I got to play Lilith, and I got to play opposite Vernon Wells. And I did, I know people are going to roll their eyes at me, but I didn't know anything about Vernon Wells. I never saw Commando. I have now, but I never saw it. I didn't really know much about him. And so when it was said, oh, you're going to work with Vernon, I'm like, oh, that's cool. It's dope. I mean, just, cool. And he did. He ended up being great. He ended up being so much fun. Like, we really worked off of one another. It was one of those moments where, when you go through acting school and, your teacher's always saying, oh, you're going to find that one actor that you work off of, that you're going to vibe with one another. He's going to be the captain of your ship, and you're going to be the captain of his ship. And you're just going to have these great, wonderful moments, like acting wise, like, characters and feeling it like really deep down your soul. Vernon, I feel like, was the first one that I actually really connected and felt that with. Like, he's a true artist, and he is just great at what he does. And so he really, guided me through the day, and we just had fun playing off of one another. And so I really look back upon Lilith just with joy, because he was just great and just easygoing and just fun.
So maybe at some point down the road, we'll see him in one of your specials.
Or a feature film I might be in the works for.
Ooh.
I don't know. We'll see.
There you go. Before we wrap up here, let everybody know where they could find you on social media and where to watch the special when it releases.
Yeah. So if you want to subscribe and click that bell for notifications on YouTube, I'm youtube.com/C/Malvolia, the Queen of Screams, or I'm at Queen Malvolia on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So don't be shy. Don't be afraid. Come out of the shadows and tweet me, Insta me, slide in those DMs. I'm not shy. Well, shy about some things. Don't be weird. Don't be real weird. Okay, just be like normal. Okay, and then
hi.
Just say hi.
No photographs or anything weird. Just hello and hello. I enjoy your work. Yeah.
Happy Halloween.
Yes, happy Halloween is okay too.
Perfect.
Yes, all of that.
So, besides the special, are you doing anything exciting for Halloween?
I am not. I have to work. Can you believe that? The Queen of Screams has to work.
We should just get that day off.
Well, I mean,
I
should get overtime. Get paid overtime because you are the Queen of Screams.
Yeah, I'm gonna make people scream that day. I work at a tanning salon, so we'll make them scream.
Oh, just turn up the temperature a little bit,
right?
Have your camera rolling, a little footage to use. Yeah.
Make it feel like hell for them. Yeah.
They come out all pissed off and mad. You're like, Happy Halloween.
Tricks and treats.
Let you out if you tip good. Yeah.
I like the way y'all think.
Hand me a 20 through the little slit there.
And I'll let you out. We'll lock you in like Final Destination, until you tip me.
Awful.
Yeah.
Remind us to not go to the place that you're working at.
Yes.
I think being a Northwest resident, we're not allowed to tan anyways. I feel like it
should be illegal. Like,
they have a couple tan salons up this way, but I don't think anyone goes there.
I just think the amount of clouds and lack of sun
what's that
here
place?
is just dangerous.
And I'm like the whitest white girl ever. I don't tan. So working at a tanning salon, people are like, "Why don't you tan?" I'm like, "I pay
is this place any good?" Yeah.
It's against my other line of work. I can't.
Yeah. I can't. Yeah.
That's good. Well, hey, it was fun chatting. Thank you for hanging out. Thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, thank you.
And we'll make sure we have links up for you so everybody could follow you and slide into your DMs, not in a weird way. And be sure to check out.
I always say the wrong thing at the wrong time.
Yeah. Be sure to check out her special on the 28th. Thank you, Malvolia.
Yes, please.
Jennifer Nangle. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you for being on.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Hello, everyone. This is John. Excuse me. I'm sorry. This is John Brennan from The Last Drive-In with Joe Bob Briggs. I'm choking on pumpkin seeds. Happy Halloween, everybody. When I'm not out working on The Last Drive-In with Joe Bob Briggs or promoting my new solo record, John Brennan's No Offense, None Taken, out on vinyl from Ship to Shore Phono Co., I'm listening to the Steve and Crypto Show. It's the most scary podcast I've ever heard. And I think I'm going to cry because it's scary, man. I don't want to listen to it anymore. But not because it's not good, but because it's scary.
Hey, we are on the Steve and Crypto Show Halloween episode with a very special guest. Probably the nicest guest that we've ever had on the Steve and Crypto Show. You know him. You might not know his face, but you know him from Hellboy as Abe Sapien, multiple creatures on Pan's Labyrinth. Recently, he was on the What We Do in the Shadows series, which is probably the funniest damn show on television right now. And he is the first alien species starship captain on Star Trek and Star Trek Discovery. We have the one and only Doug Jones. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for an introduction that I can't possibly live up to, but you're very kind.
You've been living that introduction for how long have you been into business now?
No, I've been acting for 35 years. So
35 years.
Wow.
You know, so I have a lot of credits. It's not because I'm good. It's just because I'm old.
They just stack up. Yeah. So you've done, you said a lot of credits. You've done a ton of characters. Let's just jump right in. And how do you get yourself in the mindset to be a certain character or monster or creature?
Well, it's really no different than any other actor who plays humans, which I have also done many of in my career.
Oh.
I find that, you know, once you study and delve into the heart and soul of your character, what are his wants, needs, loves, fears, where does he play in the story, how does he relate to the other characters, what's his relationship with them, where is it all headed, that's got to be all figured out. Even if you're playing a monster that growls, you got to figure all that out. And so if you attack a character, go into it to prepare for it as an actor, not just as somebody with talented elbows, that comes first, right? So I have to figure all that out. And then if it's a character that is from another world or has a hybrid with an animal or whatever, and then that brings a lot of makeup with it. So it's just a matter of some patience in the getting ready process every day, and then some stamina through wearing it and performing in it and through it for the rest of a 12-hour shoot day. And then the patience of taking it off, which might take a couple hours, depending on how extensive and how all over the body it is.
Speaking of those characters, this might be hard to do as you've played many. Do you have a favorite, one that you just really enjoy playing, you know, after all these years, 35 years and all the different characters? It could even be just because one takes less time in the makeup chair.
Yeah.
You know, is there one that you favor?
I get asked this all the time, as you might imagine, and it is impossible for me to pick a favorite, because that would kind of negate the existence of all the others. And it's kind of like saying I have a favorite child. You're not supposed to say that. So I really have to fall in love with every character I play in order to play him well and to understand his heart and soul and all those things I was talking about. So even the bad guys, I have to fall in love with and understand them and want what they want. So that gets me very close and intimate with all the characters that I play. So I do love them all dearly. But you know, if you have favorites, then I might like them and love them for the same reasons you do. Each one has taken me on a completely different ride, and it has tapped into a different piece of me that has helped me discover something or learn something or laugh, you know, whatever it is. So you know, in my recent years, I have adored playing Saru on Star Trek Discovery. I've adored playing the Baron on What We Do in the Shadows, and The Shape of Water was a movie experience unlike any I'd ever had before, with its massive critical acclaim. Pan's Labyrinth was a close second to that, but they both ended up with. I've been invited to attend the Oscars twice. Once with Pan's Labyrinth, once with The Shape of Water. So the after effect and the shelf life these movies have. I still hear fans talk about the Hellboy franchise and how much they loved Abe Sapien in that. Hocus Pocus, 'tis the season right now where everybody's watching that all over again.
Of course.
It's an annual event movie now, like The Wizard of Oz used to be for me when I was a kid. So to be a part of something like that, of course, Billy Butcherson is very special and near to my heart for those reasons as well. So they all play. The Faun and the Pale Man from Pan's Labyrinth have a special place in my heart as well. You know, just the list goes on for all different reasons.
So since you can't really pick a favorite, which I understand completely, what has probably been the hardest character costume to get into and portray?
Well, the farther you get from human, the harder things are going to be. So when I was the Faun in Pan's Labyrinth, that was about a 5-hour makeup and costume application and build. The Pale Man took about 6 hours because it was more glued on to me, and in pieces. that had to be blended together. Abe Sapien from the Hellboy movies, though, might be the most extensive and lengthy process. It was about 7 hours a day. In the Hellboy 1, when you saw me in just shorts and there was a lot of blue fish guy showing, that took 12 prosthetic pieces from head to toe had to be blended into shaved skin and then painted. So it was, and that took 3 makeup artists 7 hours to get me ready. And then getting out of it at the end of the day, it was a 2-hour cleanup job. So that just added the kind of time to a day that made it, you just can't live like that every day of the year. So you do that for a movie shoot with a light at the end of the tunnel, knowing that you're going to come to an end. And at the end of it, you think you've lived through some hell, but you've made a product, an artistic product, hopefully, that will live on and it will be immortalized on film forever and ever. So that's the hope.
Right. So I could imagine, since it's Halloween time, you're probably like, just stay away from me with a mask. No mask, no dressing up.
Yeah, you can imagine I get asked all the time, you must love Halloween. And I'm like, no, quite the opposite. When you play dress up for a living, all I want to do on Halloween is answer the door in a t-shirt and hand out candy. Okay.
I'm Doug Jones this year. That's what I'm playing.
Yeah, that's right. Tall, skinny old guy in a t-shirt. That's what I'm playing.
That's funny. So yeah, you've done, like you mentioned, the Academy Award nominated stuff. I mentioned the first alien species to be a captain. What's probably been your biggest honor or achievement over the career?
Well, it snowballed from the beginning. I think going from having to audition and tap dance and hope everybody in the room likes me, going from that to getting a phone call from someone saying, would you please be in our project? That's how Star Trek came to me. And I was baffled and blown away that they didn't want me to audition for it. They were just like offering this to me and hoping that they would present the show to me in a way that I would say yes. I did not expect that. That was quite a career advancement that I felt like, wow. And around the same time, when that meeting happened and when that offer came, I was in the middle of shooting The Shape of Water. Both projects brought critical acclaim with them, and both projects, the Star Trek Discovery has brought me now 3 Saturn Award nominations, 1 win, and then the next Saturn Awards is this coming Tuesday, October 26th, where I will find out if I am a 2-time winner or not for Best Supporting Actor in a TV series. And the Saturn Awards are the the voting body for those awards are the Academy of Science Fiction, Fantasy, and Horror. Yep. So those are my people, basically. That means more to me than winning an Emmy would, because that's the peer group that I really play to. Yeah. And The Shape of Water, the closest I ever came to an Oscar nomination was Fox Searchlight putting out all of their advertising to in all the trade papers and all the LA Times, these big full-page ads for your consideration for all the awards. And in the Best Actor category, they just had my name, Doug Jones. So to have Fox Searchlight and a big studio like that have faith in me to put my name forward in the Best Actor category for Oscar consideration that's the closest to an Oscar I've ever come, and I felt like I did win one just because of that. Yeah,
that's huge.
Yeah,
definitely. I know. We interviewed probably like 6 years ago for my website a while back, and we talked about you mentioned one of your dream roles was to play Count Orlok in a Nosferatu film, and at that time I think you guys are getting ready to work on one, and I've been kind of waiting and researching to hear more news about that, if it's ever going to see light of day. I think the last I heard was last year that it was almost completed.
Right.
Is there any more news about that, or is that coming?
Well, yeah, my gosh, this has been a long haul, this one. But it was being Nosferatu is public domain now because it's the movie is 100 years old next year in 2022. So anybody can, you don't have to buy rights, so anybody can make it. So it was made on an independent budget. And when you're dealing with not much budget and lots of visual effects to put on, you're dealing with like a post-production that could take forever. So it has. It's been every frame of this movie of Nosferatu has a green screen element to it that has to be filled in and digitized. So that's just an incredible amount of post-production work. Then you add to that your color timing and your editing in general, your sound design, your musical scoring. It's just there's a lot. And so when you're gathering money bit by bit as you can to work on one element at a time in post-production, it's just taken us years. So I say us. I'm not involved in the post-production. I'm just hearing things when I ask questions. So I did ask one of our producers, where are we last year? And about a year ago, and I got a link to watch a rough cut of what they had so far, and it was really quite advanced. There were a couple of blank spots in it that where visual effects were missing, and there was no musical score yet, and the sound design hadn't been finished up yet. But I was able to see my own performance. And that's what I was most worried about. Was we took a silent film and gave it dialogue and sound, but filmed it in the same style as the silent film was filmed in, with the backdrops from the original film, hence the green screen issue. So they created matte shots, excuse me, off the original movie that we played in front of. So I got to play in the same world that Max Schreck did when he played Count Orlok. What a dream that was to come true for me. So that just takes an incredible amount of post-production time and money that they, have in waves. So, so my guess now is that from what I saw a year ago, and I did see, there were some more post-production visual effects fine tuning being done that somebody was posting about on social media, and they were tagging me in it. So I'm like, oh, it's still being worked on. Great. So I'm assuming and hoping that 2022 will be the year you'll see it, because that will be the 100-year anniversary, and that would be very timely.
Yeah, it'll be a good time.
Well, that would be great timing. Yeah, we're anxiously waiting for that one. I want to bring it back to Hocus Pocus for a minute. So I read that when it comes to the moth scene, you put like a little pocket thing in the back of your throat to keep from swallowing the moths. And I mean, is that really how it went down?
Yeah, well, it was a bit more elaborate than that. It was there was an upper and lower retainer in my mouth, and it held a latex sheath that kind of protected and filled in the gaps of my mouth so that the moths could stay dry. Because moths are a very dry insect, and if they get any moisture on them at all, they won't fly and flutter away. So they had to flutter out of my mouth as though I, Billy Butcherson, was dry as toast, because I've been decaying for 300 years, right? So the problem, so I had a little cup on the roof of my mouth in that retainer that was built in with Fuller's Earth, which is that purified dust. So that I could go and cough out a cloud of dust as the moths fluttered away. So different compartments in there. It was a genius structure in my mouth. But so we only did 2 takes, and the second take was the one that worked. The first one, unfortunately, because the moths had to stay dry, we had a little mishap. The very last thing. Cameras and everybody was rolling already before they put those moths in my mouth. I was the last thing, and they would then lightly tack my stitches back together so that I could cut them open with that dull knife. Well, they were all ready to go, and as soon as they got me all tacked up and ready to go, a light bursts and blows out, and glass fell, and it feels like So there I am going, and I could feel the water table in my mouth going up, because you've got an intruder in your mouth, so your saliva glands are going to overwork. And my gosh, so now the clock was ticking, and by the time they got the light fixed and replaced and back away, okay, we're rolling again, let's go. I was I cut my mouth open on film and spit out like this stream of mud that and the moths were kind of like surfing on it, like, hey, yeah.
Man.
So it was it's a bit of a mess. So that was take one. They reset and dried up everything, and take two was the one that worked, and then that was the end of that. Yeah.
Things you do for movies.
That's right. Yeah. Well, that was before CG is what it is. They would probably just CG that now. Yeah.
It wouldn't look as good with the CGI.
I would agree. I like practical effects.
Yeah.
Sounds like 2 takes was just about too much.
That was about right. I could be done then. Yes.
That just sounds uncomfortable. That's for talking about that movie. You guys did that little fundraiser reunion last year, and you got to reprise the role.
Did you? Yeah, no, that was talk about a surprise. I got a DM on Twitter from Bette Midler saying, wow. Hey, do you have a number I can call you at? Hadn't talked to her in 28 years.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I love her dearly, but she leads a much bigger life than I do. So, so we connected on the phone, and she told me about her, the New York Restoration Project, which is a charity she's been heading up for many, many decades now. She helps green up areas of New York City, and she keeps parks and green areas up and running, and then maybe turns trashy empty lots into green areas. So that's been kind of the thrust of her thing. Every year she has a big fundraiser at Halloween time, and she calls it her Halloween party. So that last year was 2020 October, and public events and parties where you're all gathered together were kind of forbidden. So she was going to do it online, and so to have a streaming special that people could pay to watch. And so she called all of us from the original Hocus Pocus cast and asked if we would revive our characters. And so I went back into my original Billy Butcherson makeup, wig, costume, all of it, and looked exactly like I did 28 years ago in the movie. It was fascinating to see, like not even minutes had passed. Yeah. So that was great fun. And they wrote a whole monologue for me to do, and we recorded it here. And so she had people recording things all over the world, and they cut it all together to make this, hour-long special. It was great.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see that, but I know it was
me neither.
Like an awesome event.
Yeah.
So apparently they have part 2 in the works. Is there any Doug Jones involvement, or do we know?
What have you heard?
I know. I seen all the social media stuff. Them building the village, working on it in like Rhode Island or something. But I mean,
I've seen all the same social media posts.
Oh, so that's as far as.
Yeah, including Bette Midler, Sarah Jessica Parker, and Kathy Najimy all on the same day posted a Hocus Pocus 2 logo saying look for it on Disney Plus next October. That's because their contracts were completed and done all at the same time, and they finally did it. I could announce it. The rest of us from the original movie kind of were waiting to hear something, and so I suppose that like I would probably be forbidden to give you a yes or no on whether I'm involved in the second movie.
Okay, understandable.
But let me say this: that if Disney were to offer me Billy Butcherson to reprise, I would jump at the chance. I loved him dearly. I really connected with him and love him.
Seemed like besides the moth part, it was
Mm-hmm. If I don't do that again, it would be a day too soon. Yeah.
So, the new Discovery series comes out very soon, doesn't it?
Yes. Season 4 of Star Trek Discovery starts airing on Paramount Plus November 18th. Will be every Thursday night for 13 weeks after.
Awesome. Is there anything else coming down the pipeline for you?
Well, let's see.
That you can mention, of course.
Right. You mentioned the Baron from What We Do in the Shadows. And I just came back from the dead a couple episodes ago. Season 3 is currently airing on the FX channel and Hulu the next day. So episode 6 of season 3, they dig the Baron up from the backyard. I'm still alive. So I have now stayed above ground, and so you look for me again in episode 10 coming up soon. It's the season finale, and then hopefully season 4, more Baron can show up. Let's hope and see.
Let's hope so. Speaking of that show, following those, the cast on the social media and everything like we all do, they all seem like a fun, wild bunch of people. How is that crew and cast?
Oh, everyone is so hysterically funny, and the thing is that because everyone is so funny, and because it is such a handheld, reality-looking sort of mockumentary style of filming, once we've done the scripted version a couple of times, they do encourage us to go off script and explore and find the funny in whatever way we want, and it's been really, really delicious to see such funny, brilliant people all around me coming up with brilliant things on their own that have stayed in the show,
Right. Okay, well, we're cutting it close on time here, so before we do wrap it up, we made a little joke about not wanting to wear masks and stuff on Halloween.
Yeah.
Do you and yours get into the since you've basically played spirits, do you get into the Halloween spirit yourself, or?
Yeah, it's for me, I've never been into the dark side of it. I'm a very lighthearted. I like Hallmark Christmas movies. That's the person I am. So when it comes to the dark meaning behind a holiday, I'm probably going to be more about the dressing up, having fun part of it. Yeah. But ever since I was a kid, I've always enjoyed Halloween. The dress up part, like who am I going to be this year? I think one of my most brilliant costumes I ever came up with on my own was as an adult. I went to a big party at Masters Effects, which is one of the creature effects houses here in LA. And and everybody, of course, you're going to a costume party at a creature effects house. So it means everybody coming are these brilliant artists that are going to make themselves up into all kinds of amazing things. So there was no need to compete with that. So I basically painted my face and neck silver. I put on a silver leotard. I made a foil, aluminum foil eagle that I stuck to my head, and I had an American flag sewn to my right side. So I was just a flagpole. Being 6'3.5" and 137 pounds, that it was appropriate. So
nailed it. Nailed
it. You mentioned Hallmark Christmas movies. Are you knocking at a Hallmark store trying to get in one of their films?
It is my as I age, rubber and glue is not. I'm getting more picky with those roles. And I want to play more humans and explore, playing more characters that are in my age bracket, and so I'm graduating into that dad of the grown woman who's having a love issue that we can discuss over a cup of cocoa while I'm wearing my Christmas sweater. Yeah, that's my dream. Those are my new dream roles to play. So and I think
Hallmark's perfect.
I think everybody at the Hallmark Channel knows this because I've said this in countless interviews now, and it's gotten back to them. So I've had directors and producers of Hallmark movies reach out to me and be like, "Hey, are you serious about this?" Because and they don't have much budget at all. So it's like, "Are you kidding?" I'm like, "I'm absolutely serious."
Right? Is there going to be glue involved? Yeah.
Yeah, my Star Trek schedule has usually kept me from doing any of these offers that have come out. So I'm hoping to have a lighter schedule in the coming year, so I can maybe do a Hallmark movie or two. I would be in heaven if I could.
And it takes 30 seconds to put on some Christmas attire versus 7 hours in the chair. So I think that's a big sell for you right there.
It sure is. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, hey, it's been fun chatting. We thank you. Before we shut this down, is there anything you want to say to listeners?
Well, if you're listening to this, thank you, first of all. I'm sure Steve and Crypto appreciate you listening. And I do too. If you found me a worthy guest, it means the world to me. And if you've ever called yourself a fan of mine or of theirs, I want to thank you for that from the bottom of my heart. So big love to you.
Hey guys, thanks again for listening. Doug, it's been a pleasure. It's always a pleasure. Hopefully we see you at a convention soon up here, schedule permitting.
Yeah, I need to get back to the Pacific Northwest. I have not done a convention up there in a long, long time. So it's I'm long overdue.
Hey, this is Dr. Gangrene. You're watching the Steve. No, you're not. You're listening to the Steve and Crypto Show right here on whatever network you're on. I don't know what you're on. Don't ask me. I can't see what you're doing, but keep listening and tune in next week for more cool content on the Steve and Crypto Show.
Why hasn't anyone ever seen ghost poop? Because it's invisible. What's that? You want one more? You want more? I have a whole list for you.
Did I say that?
Sure.
Did I say that? Is that what you heard?
Why didn't the skeleton like the Halloween candy?
Why?
He didn't have the stomach for it. And, these people probably don't have the stomach for these jokes, so I'm issuing an apology
I don't
right
think
now.
I do that.
I apologize. Hopefully you guys accept my apology.
They've stuck with us this long. I mean, I think they're still listening. We've reached the end of the episode here. They listen to the guests. They listen to the bad jokes at the beginning. Let's not torture them anymore. This is the Halloween episode. Maybe we should actually give them something good here at the end.
They've made it through. You're right. And they've made it through 49 episodes of fart jokes. So I think we might be okay. Again, I apologize, and we thank you guys for listening. And go to fright-rags.com. Check out our friends over there. Get all that Universal Monsters stuff. And visit our Buy Me a Coffee page, buymeacoffee.com/SteveCrypto. Steve,
That's right.
I wish you a happy Halloween.
I'm Crypto Zoo. Happy Halloween. Once again, Crypto10 at checkout for Fright Rags. We'll save you a couple bucks at checkout. We love you. Happy Halloween.